All right, I think we can go. Hello, everybody. Thank you for coming and listening. We have a great panel today. I think, with the biggest sport in the world, with three of the biggest leagues in the world, and some big minds here to talk about what's coming, what's happening now, and what's coming. We'll start with obviously short introductions. My name is Shaka Arnon. I'm VP Business Development at WSC Sports. We're based in Israel. We allow sports broadcasting rights holders to automate the creation of content at scale without compromising quality, completely changing the strategy and how they view and utilize content. And we'll explore these in the future, during the panel. I'll start with Stefan Merkel. Just the title to get everything right. EVP Audiovisual Rights at Bundesliga, DFL. You want to introduce yourself in a couple of sentences?
Yes. Thank you very much, Shaka. My name is Stefan Merkel, EVP Audiovisual Rights at the DFL. I'm responsible for the league's domestic and international media product and also for the domestic media rights tenders that we are holding every 4 years.
Thank you, Stefan. And we have Leo Soler, Head of International Media Rights at La Liga.
Hello, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for the introduction. I joined La Liga 5 years ago now, and I'm head of international media rights, similar to here, Stefan, for the Spanish league. And basically, we look for a global distribution of the competition, both for first and second division, and also for the archive footage.
Thank you, Leo. And we have Pierre Tomagra. You see that long name? Pierre is good. He's head of digital at Serie A from Italy.
Yes, thanks, Shaka. Thanks for inviting me. Head of digital at Lega Serie A, oversee digital strategy and content production and distribution efforts for Lega Serie A digital channels. Worked 5 years, almost 5 years at Juventus Football Club, and I was responsible for digital strategy and digital marketing team at the club. More a content guy than a marketer, but try to combine both things.
All right, awesome. So from the titles and the introductions here, you may have noticed that we have digital and media rights. And maybe a few years ago, this did not necessarily make sense, but now we believe it does, and let's explore that. So from a bird's eye view, let's start with Stefan. From a bird's eye view, looking at the trends the last, 5 years, 10 years, maybe since COVID hit, how do you see the media rights landscape? What moves the needle for Bundesliga in terms of media rights and how it changed in those 5 years?
Yep. So during the last 5 to 10 years, we've seen a lot of changes, of course, in the media market. I would say even accelerating due to the COVID pandemic, when it comes, for example, consumption behaviors of people who want to watch league content in the end. So, of course, there have been mega trends such as individualization, personalization of content. I would say the biggest change that we have seen in the Bundesliga over the last 3 to 4 years is that consumption becomes more fragmented. Yeah? So there are a lot of people still who want to watch the traditional signal, for example, in the Bundesliga produced with 20 cameras at every match, but there is an increasing number of people who want to see it perhaps differently, who want to watch what we call, for example, a tactical feed that we have introduced a year ago, where we show all 20 field players from a tactical perspective, powered with additional statistics, or who want to watch, for example, what we introduced 4 weeks ago with Sky Deutschland, so-called Kidscast, so a broadcast specifically directed for kids with specific reporters, commentators. So in general, consumption becomes a bit more fragmented, and that's what we see during the last years.
So Leo, just to build on that, and I'll add an additional layer to this. With all that fragmentation and everything going on, how do you balance between the current relationships and partnerships you currently have, and the short-term gains and P&Ls, with maybe the bigger strategy, the medium to long-term strategy? With all this fragmentation going on, you have partnerships to maintain and to farm. How do you balance between that fragmentation and those big partnerships that you have?
That's a good point. You were mentioning about fragmentation, because it's basically like this right now. I mean, we're in a moment that football is competing also not only with other leagues, but also with other sorts of entertainment. So it's really important for the leagues to deliver a product that can be good for all the audiences. And there's an example that we did last season in La Liga with our free-to-air partner in Spain, that it's called Televisión, that they broadcast a match with the collaboration of La Liga, TikTok, and Gold Television, that the same match that was being broadcast on a free-to-air channel, it was also broadcast on TikTok. So it was a way of adapting to this fragmentation where it's sometimes difficult to move the people that are actually consuming content, not only football, but other sort of content in TikTok, to move them to watch the television. But we found that it was a good idea or a good way of proceeding to move the people, the football to TikTok, rather than moving the people that were watching TikTok to the free-to-air channel. And it was actually a thing that really worked really well. So that's an example of the fragmentation you were talking about, yeah.
Great. So it brings us to you, Pierre. I think TikTok is a great example where you need to, there's inherent value in live, right? You have free-to-air partners, there's inherent value in the game that's happening right now. But you as head of digital, how do you utilize content in order to enhance the value of the live? How do you get people maybe from the TikTok to tune in to the live game? How do you help as head of digital to promote more of the live value that you have inherently as a league?
Yeah, I think that, you know, what you just said, it's amazing because it changed a lot in the last, I think, 5 years probably, as you said. So the product is fragmented, and I really believe it's an exciting time to work in leagues, especially now that there are so many platforms, so many formats, and the technology allows us to do more things, even more things than the past that we could even imagine. You know, you mentioned live. I think it's, you know, if you want to succeed in this space, you need to be good in 3 different things. The first thing is content production and distribution of on-demand and highlights content, because that helps a lot the live consumption as well.
The brand increases.
Yes, yes, they create an appetite for the brand itself and the product that you want to sell, the competition that you want to sell. So that is the first step, I think, both in terms of quality of the content that you produce, from the biggest production to the smallest highlights. And you know, the US leagues, and these are, you know, the best examples. Yesterday I was here for the speech of the One Championship founder. It was amazing to understand how they are building the product from, you know, he said we are basically spreading our content and making it accessible through social media, and that is one of the best examples. Formula One have been, you know, doing great in this space. So I think if you create the first step, the content and distribution production, you know, very well, you start, you know, creating the appetite for your live content as well. The second point, I think, is the ownership of the product. You both work in leagues that are very good at, you know, creating a product which is innovative, entertaining, and I think that is exactly the goal. So from a sports point of view, of course, that I can manage, but, you know, I work in digital, so the point is creating a product, and your competition need to be entertaining and innovative in the way also you produce your games on television and in the broadcast. So they need to be, the users need to feel that you are giving them a personalized experience. And the third point, I think, is the technology that you have in your own platform. That is you know, I think the crucial element. Everyone can have the budget to create, you know, the technology that are really well done, but at the end of the day, you need to, you know, create a journey that is relevant for those people. So if you combine all these 3 elements, I think that you are in a good position to enhance your live experience as well.
Great answer. I think one of the things that were embedded in your answer is that the leagues have moved quite substantially from being, I don't want to characterize it unfairly, but from fair play enforcers and, you know, making professional enhancements to the game, to being more and more media companies as well. So to all 3 of you, can you talk about the challenges of getting control of the media asset I'll give a sentence and then let you answer. 20 years ago, my sports consumption included watching whatever the broadcaster put on TV for me, right? The broadcaster had all the control for me to tune in. And if I didn't catch that, I'd probably either go to the highlight show at the end of the day or read the newspaper the next day, right? I would wait a day to read a newspaper article. And I'm sure all of you remember that time. So from that, where the broadcasting partner had everything, to where you are now, where you're a media company that is trying to promote your narratives, to try to do it in real time, post-game, before game, all of that. What challenges have you encountered with that huge strategic shift?
So in general, it's absolutely right. As you say, Shaka, we started, for example, in terms of the Bundesliga, the DFL, 15 years ago to insource a lot of the things that were previously outsourced to external providers. We built up an own production company called Sportcast that produces all of the matches in the Bundesliga. We built up an own digital subsidiary that produces what we call the international product portfolio for our broadcasters. We built up a data company, Sportec Solutions, that supplies their VAR, but also data services to our media partners, and tried to insource all of the things bit by bit. But of course, as you say, it creates opportunities and also challenges. The big opportunity, of course, from a broadcast and storytelling perspective is that you can tell a consistent narrative in all of the markets. In the end, somehow I would say brand safe, but especially consistent as you want to tell and transport the brand of the league. Of course, this can come with challenges because on the one hand, it's good to somehow being able to control the narrative and being consistent in your storytelling. On the other hand, and I can only say that from my personal experience, of course, people want to see authentic content in the end and not want to see a brushed and clean marketing story. And that is, I would say, the basic challenge in every day-to-day business for a league that insources exactly the parts of the value chain, as we have done it, for example, at the Bundesliga.
Awesome.
I'm building up on this. I mean, as you were saying, it's not enough now to just give the live matches. We need to deliver much more content for broadcasters in order to be able to, but this is a good opportunity, you know, because now you don't only have the weekend matches. During the whole week, you can talk about this narrative we were talking about, no, of explaining what's behind the live match, no, and that's something that it's responsibility of all the leagues to also deliver this content to broadcasters. Of course, it's great that broadcasters can also build their own narrative adapted to their local market. That we really appreciate. We have some examples of good partners that are really building on this local scene, no, of this, no. But basically, it's something that you have to deliver more than just the live, and that's what we're trying. And also with WSC that we're working right now, no, and with all the clips that we're working, and we deliver them through a platform that directly the broadcaster can download and use it during the whole week.
Awesome. Yeah. So scale has a value on its own when we can then tap into the narratives. Just how do you wrap it in a narrative? You want to chime in on that, or you know what? I'll give you another question, and then you can. You mentioned TikTok. I assume all of you have some form of social media. For you, as head of digital, social media, beat them or join them? Bring people to your O&O or just?
I started working in this industry starting from social media, so I will always be a big fan of the join them team. Also because if we face the reality, we can't beat them at all. And that's not even the point. We are not playing in the same playground, I think. So I still believe social media are amazing tools to reach new audiences and to engage the audiences that are generally interested in the content that you produce. And you mentioned before the amount of content that people want to see beyond the 90 minutes of the game. But as I said before, it's all part, I think, of a journey. So you start the journey on social media, reach the audience, engage the audience, and then you need to lead the people to your own operated platform. And I think you there have the possibility to extend the narrative and to create exclusive content, gamification, personalization. Before there was a panel where it was explained how to personalize the view the live view experience. And I think those are great things that you can do on your own platform. So if you do those things, I think that you can use social media to help your funnel at the end of the stage. That, I think, is the point of our job in the different roles that we have. Of course, again, you can do that if you create good content, but creating good content is not enough anymore. A couple of years ago, in these kind of events, everyone was talking about OTT and the creation of content, but it's not enough. You need to build a brand, and you need to offer your biggest products if you want to succeed.
Awesome. You want to chime in, or?
Yeah, would be interesting because actually I totally subscribe to what you are saying, Per, in the end. I'm also a big fan of, I would say, join the team, because in the end, for us as a league, for example, the major clients, of course, and we're always aware about this, are the broadcasters. They're paying, for example, domestically in terms of the pay live segment, 85% of the revenues that we are actually getting. As long as we are reaching ways over social media to promote the pay live content and also to promote free content out there on our free-to-air broadcast partners, I think that's a good opportunity. So, for example, several years ago, we launched a product that we call Social Media Matchday Feed, where we have a lot of the clubs with their own social media teams outside going to, I don't know, the bus arrivals before the game is starting, going to the drawer rooms when they are dressed up for the players, and so on and so forth. A lot of good content is actually produced there, and we are combining this with cross-promotion, tune-in campaigns then for the broadcasters to, in the end, help them gain and reach new audiences there. As long as you're able to, say, help the core product grow, it's a good thing.
Exactly, and that's a good point, because as you're saying, our main worry, it's that don't take the exclusivity to the broadcasters, because of course they're the ones that are broadcasting the live. But we also created these mini clips, that we have 3 mini clips of 10 seconds that we're using during the live. That it's sort of near live, we call it, because it's 15, 20 minutes afterward. That it's not normally a goal, it's normally another good action that afterwards drives people to the broadcaster. And we even add to the end of the clip, watch the match in DAZN or Movistar or whoever is broadcasting that match. So it's building up on what we were talking, that it's good to be in social media, but also bringing all the audience also to the live match. Yeah.
Great. So if I'm trying to put a medium point here in this panel and try to wrap everything that was said from the first question till now, I think the main theme that can be taken away is that it's not a zero-sum game. You can naively think 5 years ago, all right, if YouTube wants our content there, we'll charge them the rights, we'll make millions out of it. But that would be naive. The answer is probably no. Obviously, different leagues would have different approaches. But if you can promote your brand utilizing YouTube, TikTok, all those social media, and join them, as you said, it's not a zero-sum game. You're not losing on the other end. You're actually gaining more traction, more engagement, and hopefully also improving the big rights deals that you're doing. That 85% is growing. Awesome stuff. Looking ahead, right? 2023 is coming. Maybe if we can look a little further down the line, 2025, 2030. How do you see the trends? How do you think the fans? What do you think the fans would demand from you? And how do you really give them, if personalized is the buzzword, how do you meet that demand with fans wanting more and fragmentation getting ever more fragmented? How do you handle it?
So I would say from a product perspective, the major trends that we see for the next 5 or 10 years, and this is something that I'm also personally intrigued by, is how we can use data and artificial intelligence to enhance the product. A, from a localization standpoint for the international markets, but also B, perhaps to make more use, and we've talked about it also during the course of the conference, how can we make use of our archive, for example, because we have 200,000 hours of broadcast material in our archive that we would love to use. We have already a lot of metadata in there, but using artificial intelligence, visual recognition, to make the archive, to make this treasure usable, this is something that we truly believe in. Because in the end, and this is a true conviction that we also have at the DFL, we believe that data and the audiovisual product actually belong together. It's not a thing anymore of you insert some data into a scoreboard and into a graphic, and that's it basically. We have a lot of products, for example, in our product portfolio where we say data is in the end the fuel of what we are offering there, be it, for example, in terms of personalized clips that we are producing together with you guys, be it in terms of what we call the interactive feed, where we have a Saturday afternoon conference which switches between the matches based on artificial intelligence and data, depending on where it's right now the most exciting action happening. So there's a lot of products that we're offering that uses data, and we believe it will emerge and converge more and more over the next years. And this will help us reaching more and more fans.
And it depends on, yes, I mean, the innovation is key to be able to deliver a product that can compete, not, as I was saying, not only with other leagues, but also with other sort of content and entertainment and movies and shows. So we always try to follow trends, and it's difficult to predict the future, no? And no one knows what's going to happen in 5 years or what new platform's going to be there, no? But this new season, this new cycle on the domestic side, we've been working with Twitch also, and we're doing with the streamers, because it's something that was influencers, and I mean, we're trying new ways of broadcasting the same product that we've had for the past 25 years, but doing it in a different way. No, we've also delivered this multicam production where you can see different cameras in the same screen. That's also something that was demanding. Instead of having different screens to see several things in the same time, we already put it all in a screen so you can show all the stats that we were talking about. But if someone wants to just watch the match in the traditional way, they can also do it. No? So we have to find new ways in which we should innovate and keep trying. And if something doesn't work, I mean, it doesn't matter. We have to keep on trying and be innovative. Yeah.
And I think for you, talking about international rights, also there may be different phases for different markets and different locales. You have what you're doing in Southeast Asia would be different than what you're doing in Latin America and in Europe and domestically, obviously. So you need to adjust not just once, but to every market separately. So
because each broadcaster, it's different, no? I mean, there's ones more traditional, others that are fully digital. So yeah, it depends on each market, each partner. So we must adapt also to the requirements. Yeah.
Okay, so we basically need Pierre to just take care of it, right?
Yeah, I will add a point on what Leo just said regarding the competition that you have not only with the other leagues or with the sports organization, but also with other industry. I think this is a very crucial point when it comes to starting to think how to, enhance and improve your product. So data for sure, innovation, and I think personalization. And I think whoever played video games not related to sports in the last, or even related to sports in the last couple of years, know how much the interaction is crucial now in everything that you do. So maybe I think that on this point, create technologies that enable people to interact with the live game is something that I think it's one other element that I think we should care about. Regarding answering your question regarding global, yes, it's we have the ambition and the need, I think, as leagues to go global in the way that we do things, especially on social media and digital. And for sure, we are working a lot on this point. We are trying to recover, let's say, 20 years of period that we lost, where we, at the back of the time, we were sports-wise probably the best, but we couldn't take care about the future. But now we are trying to, working hard in order to covering all these things. And in May, we opened the first office outside Italy in New York. We will open in a month in Abu Dhabi. And together with the physical presence, I think the most important factor that you need to work in building the communities, both physically and digitally. Together with the office, we opened a dedicated Instagram account, for example, to the US audience. We have now 7 languages that we are covering. And it's not a matter of the language that you talk to your audience, but the content that you create specifically for their audience. Of course, it's part of a big effort. But you can do that just if you can scale your content production, and we work with you guys, and it's amazing how the amount of content and the quality of content that you can produce and then you can deliver to all these different markets. So those things I think are crucial.
All right, adjusting to the market and scaling up the production abilities and innovating with new products. I think it's a good way to summarize that. We have 5 minutes left, exactly 5 minutes, and we'll open it for questions from the audience. I imagine there's a mic floating over there. So the first question is always a challenge. Who's gonna take it first? Yeah, if you can introduce yourself and the name of your company, if possible, that would be great.
Yeah, hello, Robert Niemann from Niemann Investment. It's very interesting to hear about you as licensors. What we are missing is the focus on the consumer, on the user. The market and the media rights have been fragmented with the goal to create a lot of revenues for the clubs and the leagues. And I think the focus on the consumer has been lost a little bit. And it's nice to talk to the broadcasters and establish your own social media activities. But it's another distraction. You lead them to another platform. I would like to know, what are your plans to reunite the interest of the user? He doesn't know where to watch the match on Sky, on the Zone, and all these things. I don't have to give you those examples. So I miss the user-centric strategy, and I think you all know, excuse me for being so direct, you know nothing about your fan. And that's the opportunity. Data and reintegration. Thank you.
All right. If you don't mind that, I'll give a sentence and then I'll let you three. So thanks for the question and the directness. I'll say these three guys have the privilege of not having consumers. They have fans, and that's very different. So they'll be able to give them something that may be easier to snag them and get them to where they want to go. And I think we talked about the challenges of when you have millions of fans, how do you adjust to millions? And it's not, to 1 or 2 consumers or 10 consumers or even 500 consumers. We're talking about millions. So how do you do that? And anyone who wants to answer.
Yeah. So I would say the answer is manifold, I would say. When it comes to how do you prevent a distraction from the major product, which is the broadcast product, this is something that I share with you and a concern that I share. And therefore, from a product perspective, our focus is always and will always be, how do we bring back people to the broadcast product and especially to the first screen? Because there's been so many talks about what do you want to watch on a second screen? Do you want to get additional data, information around the game? What is for us always important in product development is bring people back to the first screen. Therefore, for example, just to give you a concrete example, we have developed a product that we call an interactive feed, where people can, at their fingertips, retrieve additional statistics, retrieve information about the game, can watch highlights of previous parallel matches, can switch between different games of the conference on a Saturday afternoon at their fingertips to bring everything back to the first screen experience. Of course, when it comes to fragmentation, we know all it's a very complex game, especially in the domestic market where there's regulatory oversight, where some authorities, including, for example, the German one, have introduced a no single buyer rule. So that is, and I agree, it is a challenge that we do have. And we see, at least for the German market, I can say, really good tendencies over the last months that broadcast partners such as Sky and DAZN are working hard on how can we aggregate the content? How can we bring this to one platform so that in the end there will be again a one-stop shop for the fan? Because in the end, fragmentation is a bit breaking the consumer experience. But of course, it's a manifold topic.
But it's also a good moment for the fans right now because they have different ways of consuming rather than before just being able to watch the match on TV. I mean, right now, for example, again, the domestic side, we have clips of 90 seconds that are being broadcast only just in the moment that the match ends, and you can watch them for free. So that's basically really good for the fan. Before you maybe had to wait until the end of the match round to watch the highlights on only one channel because. And now it's a great moment where you can just enjoy football all around the whole week. You can go on social media, you can go to your newspaper, digital newspaper, you can go to the broadcaster. I mean, we're really centered in the fans, and I believe that right now they have more opportunities of watching than before. So I have
20
to...
seconds, Pierre?
Yeah, I see the timer. It's
Yeah,
really scary.
try it,
9
yeah.
seconds. It's really difficult. No, I get your point, and basically, I think we agree on the fact that probably it's true that whoever worked in the football industry probably lost something in the last 20 years, probably because somehow we took for granted some of the things, and that's I think is true. What I believe, though, is the fact that the things that we discussed today in terms of the technology, innovation, and things are all related to. Of course, you said monetization, revenue, make our broadcaster happy. That's true. But that somehow we are giving users the ability to create the product that they want. We can't go back to 30 years ago to how football it was. And of course, probably there are positive aspects in that world as well. So we're trying to make and to find a balance, I think, between what the users really want and what we can do to make the system sustainable.
All right, awesome. Stefan, Leo, Pierre, thank you very much. Thank you for listening.
Thank you.
We're going to have a happy hour at 4 p.m. B3. That's our booth. If you want to come in, grab a beer. Thank you very much.